The Americans want us to help them get a UN resolution for war.
So, you work for the British government?
No.
No?
Official Secrets unfolds as a grounded and quietly intense political drama that centers on truth, accountability, and the personal cost of standing against powerful institutions. The story is inspired by real events and follows a narrative that feels both intimate and globally significant at the same time, capturing how a single decision by an individual can ripple outward and challenge entire systems. From the very beginning, the film establishes a tense atmosphere, one shaped not by explosive action, but by the weight of secrecy, surveillance, and moral conflict. It presents a world where information is tightly controlled, and where the truth can be as dangerous as any weapon. At the heart of the story is a woman working within a government intelligence agency, someone who is deeply committed to her job and the responsibilities that come with it. She is not introduced as a rebellious or radical figure, but rather as an ordinary person who believes in doing her duty. This grounded introduction makes her journey more compelling, as the choices she makes later feel authentic and deeply human. Her life is structured, disciplined, and seemingly stable, reflecting the environment of secrecy and order in which she operates. However, this stability is gradually disrupted when she comes across information that challenges her understanding of right and wrong. The narrative begins to build tension as the protagonist encounters a classified communication that reveals a disturbing plan involving international politics and manipulation. This moment acts as a turning point, shifting the story from routine to crisis. The information she discovers is not just sensitive, it carries implications that could affect the lives of countless people. The weight of this knowledge creates an internal struggle, as she must decide whether to remain silent and protect her position or to act on her conscience and risk everything. This dilemma forms the emotional core of the film, driving the narrative forward with a sense of urgency and conflict. As the story progresses, the film explores the complexity of whistleblowing, showing that it is not a simple act of heroism but a deeply complicated and often isolating decision. The protagonist is portrayed as someone who carefully considers the consequences of her actions, aware that speaking out could lead to severe repercussions not only for herself but also for those close to her. This adds layers to her character, making her choices feel realistic and relatable. The tension is heightened by the constant presence of surveillance and the fear of being discovered, creating an atmosphere where every action feels risky. The narrative also delves into the role of journalism and the importance of a free press in uncovering the truth. When the information is eventually shared, it does not immediately lead to clarity or resolution. Instead, it triggers a series of events that involve reporters, editors, and legal experts, each navigating their own challenges as they attempt to verify and publish the story. This part of the film highlights the collaborative nature of truth-seeking, showing how different individuals contribute to bringing hidden information into the public eye. It also emphasizes the obstacles faced by journalists, including pressure, skepticism, and the constant threat of legal action. At the same time, the film maintains a strong focus on the personal life of the protagonist, exploring how her decision impacts her relationships and sense of security. Her home, which once felt like a safe space, becomes a place of uncertainty. The people around her are drawn into the situation, whether they fully understand it or not, and their reactions add emotional depth to the story. This personal dimension ensures that the narrative remains grounded, even as it deals with large-scale political issues. It reminds the audience that behind every major are individuals who must live with the consequences. As the pressure builds, the story transitions into a legal and political struggle, where the truth becomes a contested space. The protagonist faces serious charges, and the narrative shifts to the courtroom, where arguments about legality, morality, and public interest come to the forefront. This phase of the film is marked by a different kind of tension, one that is driven by dialogue, strategy, and the interpretation of laws. The courtroom scenes are carefully constructed to reflect the complexity of the situation, avoiding simple answers and instead presenting a nuanced exploration of Justice. One of the most compelling aspects of the narrative is its portrayal of courage as something quiet and persistent rather than loud and dramatic. The protagonist does not seek attention or recognition. Her actions are driven by a sense of responsibility and clarity. This understated approach makes her journey more impactful, as it feels rooted in genuine conviction rather than external validation. The film shows that courage often involves enduring fear and uncertainty, making difficult choices even when the outcome is unclear. The pacing of the story is deliberate, allowing the tension to build gradually and giving the audience time to absorb the implications of each development. Instead of relying on fast-paced action, the film uses silence and subtle shifts in tone to create a sense of unease. This approach aligns with the themes of secrecy and hidden truths, reinforcing the idea that much of the conflict exists beneath the surface. The restrained style also enhances the realism of the narrative, making it feel more like a reflection of real than a dramatized spectacle. Visually, the film adopts a muted and understated aesthetic, using subdued colors and controlled compositions to reflect the serious tone of the story. The environments are often confined and structured, mirroring the controlled world of intelligence and bureaucracy. This visual style contributes to the overall atmosphere, emphasizing the sense of restriction and the difficulty of breaking free from established systems. At the same time, moments of openness are used sparingly to highlight key turning points, creating a subtle but effective contrast. The performances play a crucial role in bringing the story to life, with the central character portrayed with a balance of strength and vulnerability. The actor captures the internal of someone caught between duty and conscience, conveying emotion through small gestures and expressions rather than overt dramatics. Supporting characters are also given depth, each representing different perspectives on the situation. Some are cautious and pragmatic, while others are more idealistic, creating a dynamic interplay that enriches the narrative. As the story moves toward its climax, the various threads begin to converge, bringing together the personal, legal, and political elements into a unified resolution. The outcome is not presented as a simple victory or defeat, but as a complex result shaped by multiple factors. This nuanced approach reinforces the themes of the film, suggesting that truth and justice are not always straightforward, and that outcomes often involve compromise and ambiguity. The resolution feels grounded and realistic, avoiding the temptation to simplify a complicated situation. In the aftermath, the film shifts into a reflective mode, considering the broader implications of the events that have unfolded. It raises questions about the role of individuals within larger systems, the limits of and the importance of accountability. The story suggests that while one person may not be able to change everything, their actions can still have a meaningful impact. This message is conveyed without being overly sentimental. Maintaining the film's overall tone of restraint and thoughtfulness, the narrative also touches on the idea of legacy, exploring how actions taken in moments of crisis can resonate beyond their immediate context. The protagonist's decision becomes part of a larger conversation about transparency and responsibility, influencing how similar situations might be approached in the future. This forward-looking perspective adds another layer to the story, connecting the personal journey to a wider framework. At its core, the film is a meditation on truth and the courage required to defend it. It challenges the audience to consider what they would do in a similar situation, placing them in the position of the protagonist and asking difficult questions about morality and responsibility. This engagement with the audience is one of the film's strengths, making it more than just a recounting of events and instead turning it into a thought-provoking experience. The story also highlights the tension between secrecy and transparency, showing how these opposing forces shape the actions of individuals and institutions. It presents secrecy as both a necessary tool and a potential, depending on how it is used. This balanced perspective adds depth to the narrative, avoiding a simplistic portrayal of one side as entirely right or wrong. Instead, it encourages a more nuanced understanding of the complexities involved. As the film concludes, It leaves the audience with a sense of contemplation rather than closure. The questions it raises do not have easy answers, and the issues it explores remain relevant beyond the scope of the story. This open-ended approach aligns with the film's themes, emphasizing that the pursuit of truth is an ongoing process rather than a final destination. Overall, Official Secrets stands as a powerful and thought-provoking drama that combines personal storytelling with larger political themes. It captures the tension of living in a world where information is power and where the decision to reveal that information can come at a great personal cost. Through its careful pacing, strong performances,